Hello, everyone. I'm here to correct a little bit of the record here. I made an IonQ video that was a little bit positive, shedding light on some of what's going on behind the company and making some commentary on this brave new technology, quantum computing. However, since then, I've done a little bit more research on how the company is operating, and I've just got done listening to their conference call. And I gotta tell you, I would put a big warning sign on this one, and probably most, if not all, quantum computing companies out there that are publicly traded, collecting money from investors like us in order to finance their project. Now, inherently, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with these companies. I'm not trying to accuse anyone of anything, but it seems like to me, from my understanding and the research that I've done, that whatever they're working on is either not going to happen, not useful, or really far in the future. Um, could be a combination of all of them. Now, here's a quick highlight of what, excuse me, here's a quick highlight of what's happening here in the latest announcement. They are doing, these offerings, and they're making acquisitions, and they're spending a lot of money, and that money is coming out of share offerings that are basically sold out to the public. The public finances them because, of course, the price of IonQ is very high at the moment. And these acquisitions are going to happen with that funding, as well as they're blowing up their payroll. They're hiring a lot of new talent, supposedly to work maybe harder on their current projects. And they're beating revenue. But now, when I say beating revenue, guys, that's look 15% over guidance, and they're only making about 20 million per quarter here. If I could highlight this, 15% top of guidance number, but it's really just about 20 million of revenue per quarter. And this revenue, they were asked on, okay, where is this revenue coming from? This non-quantum computing revenue, etc. And they kind of dodged the questions a little bit. I think most of the revenue is coming from advisory fees for other companies trying to make their own quantum chips or what have you, some kind of quantum advice, maybe from universities or whatever, or somebody's trying to use their equipment, etc. I think that's where the most of the revenue is coming from. So really, the company's not making any revenue. If we go on stockanalysis.com and we take a look at how the numbers have been trending ever since I made the last video, it seems like they're tracking a normal course, like growth company slash research company trajectory. This is their quarterly revenue. Now they made 20 million in this quarter, so that number would be jumping up to somewhere around here. But it's not really that much when you consider how much they're spending. They're spending like hundreds of percents more than they were year over year for payroll, etc. And their operating income is probably going to be sinking even lower. And then, obviously net income is going to be negative as well. And shares outstanding is going to be bumping up. So another billion is a huge jump on this chart right here. The dilution is crazy. And so they're going to be using that money to fund their projects. So guys, I just want you to make sure that when you invest in this company, you're paying for basically the scientists' salaries, and whether or not they have any useful product at the end or not, that's unclear. So I want you to know that this is a big risk when you're investing money into these companies. It's a growth company. It's a risky science experiment. It may or may not have applications. Like when I listen to the CEOs and their head of technologies or whatever, they're saying all the words that they're saying are very vague. They're talking about using quantum computers on satellites. I mean, it sounds like some Star Wars stuff. I'm not saying it's impossible. Maybe they know what they're doing. But it is, even if the technology is groundbreaking and revolutionary, number one, it's definitely going to take a long time. Number two, we have to flip the bill for all that. So how much does the company have to be diluted? The original dollar somebody invested a long time ago in this company is not worth nearly as much as it is now. Well, someone could argue that, okay, yeah, they've created a network of scientists, they've created value by having all this infrastructure and whatnot, but the fact still stands that the revenue that they generate is nowhere near as much as they're spending, number one, and we don't know how long this growth without any money coming in is going to last. So a word of caution here, a word of advice is, I wouldn't put a large percentage of your life savings into a company like this. I might even take the previous video I have down in light of this new opinion. I'm not sure if I should keep it up or not. But I mean, these figures are, they're pretty rough. Like if we just take, net income, I mean, I've seen much worse when it comes to growth companies, but at least the promise of a functional product and revenue increase has been on the horizon. Whereas with this company, I'm not so sure, right? It's a gamble. So basically, you're paying for an option on technology that may or may not exist in the future. And not only that, but you're paying for a technology that may or may not exist in the future, and we don't know if it's even going to win out among other technologies that are competing for the same limited market out there. The limited TTM, total addressable market, limited TAM, total addressable market. So it's unknown. One could argue that cryptology is very useful for people in the banking and financial sector, communications, etc. But again, even if this technology wins for this company or particular company, it's not clear that they're going to be the absolute winner, and we're not even sure if the banks and financial industries are not going to adopt that technology. Plus, there might be something better. I'm not saying that it's even feasible or imaginable there's something better than quantum, computing and encryption, but we didn't know about that until a certain period ago. We don't know about what the future holds. So this technology might get disrupted before it even gets off the ground. It might be hard to imagine, but no one can read the future really. So it's just a gamble within a gamble. Low percentage chance, there could be a huge payout, but at the end of the day, this is going to bleed red for a long time when it comes to their operating, balance sheet, even non-operating balance sheet. And if you're investing in this company, you got to be prepared for that. But, so the value of the stock is going to be held up by people believing that the promise on the other side is still worth the risk. And if you think that, then more power to you. I would just personally, if it was me, I would be quite a bit more cautious about putting large amounts of sums into this company. If you're really right, then the gamble within the gamble is going to pay out, and you're going to get paid many multiples of the amount you invest now, and you may have to hold for a very, very long time and endure prices that are much, much lower than this right now. Okay, that's all I'm saying. At some point, this quantum mini boom is going to have a little bit of a bust. And even if the technology is good, like let's say the early internet companies, a few of them survived, and then there was a protracted period of a bear market and quite a few of them made it out. Maybe a small percentage is a total of all the internet companies involved, but a few of them made it out and now have huge percentage gains at the other end. But you may have to be willing to wait decades, probably. Decades. So if you're willing to wait decades, fine, you can invest a small amount of money. Just know that it's risky and the payout is unsure. So that's what I have to say about IonQ. Let me know if I'm super wrong about this warning, I guess, or if you have other thoughts about the earnings call or the company in general or quantum computing in general. Do you think it's not feasible that a new technology might supersede or disrupt quantum computing before it gets off the ground, especially in the cryptology arena? Or do you have another take that I haven't heard yet? Let me know in the comments below what you think. I'm looking forward to your answers, opinions, and comments. Peace.